Nightfarers, Limveld is calling, but before you set off on your first expedition, let us be your guides as you attempt to take on the Night Lords. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and today we're explaining every map location in Elden Ring Nightreign. Limveld is crawling with over a dozen points of interest, and it can be easy to get lost navigating the world. That's why we wanted to break down every location in the game so you know exactly what to expect and the potential rewards for your efforts. This guide is meant to explain what each location is, but if you want to know how to maximize every run and have the best chance at reaching level 15 consistently before fighting the Night Lord, then check out our How to Get OP Every Run video already released on the channel. Forts can be found multiple times during every expedition. These are relatively small in nature but are filled with a number of lesser enemies, making it a decent point of interest to hit early in your expedition. Your goal should be to reach the top floor where you'll find an elite enemy. Killing it will net you a rewards cache, which will grant either weapons or a passive buff. On the first floor of the fort is a small room that contains some chests, but the real prize is upstairs. Past the elite enemy you defeated, you'll enter a small hallway on the ramparts. At the far end is a room that will have a weapons rack for magical staves, but more importantly, a map. Once collected, you'll be able to see the location of teardrop scarabs found throughout Limveld. When killed, these drop talismans that can be equipped, paralleling the effects the item had in the base game and providing you a potential run-altering effect. You can equip 2 talismans at any time. Great churches can be found multiple times during each expedition. These come in 3 distinct varieties with 2 slightly different layouts. Depending on what version of the Great Church you stumble upon, you'll have to contend with a few different bosses. If you get the layout that doesn't feature catacombs, you'll have to fight either a golem or a band of Oracle Envoy. Both are relatively easy to defeat even early on, which is why we recommend you always try and hit this point of interest early in your expedition. Near the church's altar, you'll also find a chest, and inside that chest, you'll most likely find a stone sword key, which is used to activate an Evergaol. If you don't find a stone sword key by the altar, use the scaffolding on the outside to climb to the top of the Great Church and loot it from the chest on the 2nd floor. In the alternate Great Church layout, you'll want to drop through the hole in the floor to enter the catacombs. Inside, you'll find a few different lootables that reward you with faith-based equipment, as well as a boss. This boss can rotate between a few different options, but is equally as easy to defeat early in your expedition. One of the largest points of interest in Elden Ring Nightreign is the main encampment, which is a sprawling military installment that's chock full of enemies. There are multiple varieties of enemies that can populate this encampment, but almost all of them require you to kill multiple elite enemies found throughout the camp. One of the easier variations of the camp features multiple flame chariots. Because of the new wall jump mechanic, you can easily climb the sides of these and use your light attack to hit the weak spot on the top of the enemy's head, instantly killing it. Another variation features multiple red main knights, one of which is at the top of the main tower, casting spells down upon your team. Each variation offers a different challenge, but also substantial rewards. Within each encampment, you'll also find a Spectral vendor and weapon upgrade station, which you can factor into your expedition as you explore Limveld. Found multiple times throughout your expedition are various ruins. These feature a mixture of both above ground and below ground areas, but one thing is certain: it's crawling with enemies. Similar to some of the other points of interest in the game, the enemy type can vary, and you'll most likely have to kill multiple elite enemies or even a boss before claiming the lootable reward cache. The bosses are found on the top of the ruins, but they're scattered across the 2 main sections. If you jump down between the crumbling buildings, you'll find a number of small stairwells and rooms that are filled with chests. If you're struggling to find an optimal weapon for a run, it's a good idea to spend a few extra seconds scouring this point of interest for gear. Found in the same place every expedition are various entrances to underground mines. These are very specific points of interest that you'll want to take advantage of if you're looking to upgrade your weapons. Inside, you'll find a number of enemies, but we recommend you actually ignore these as they're incredibly tanky. Instead, you'll want to find the elite enemy, either a troll, pumpkinhead, or Godric Knight. Killing this enemy has a guaranteed chance to drop a rewards cache with an epic smithing stone, which will allow you to upgrade a blue tier weapon into a purple tier weapon. Sometimes getting a smithing stone won't be necessary during your run, which is why we always suggest waiting until day 2 to determine if you need to quickly detour and take advantage of this location. Found in the same spot during every expedition is the castle. This is a massive point of interest and one of the most lucrative in the game. Starting at the far bottom, you'll find a river with a number of spirit jellyfish, as well as a rune tree. This is a unique item found in just a few places throughout the map that, when interacted with, will give you a temporary boost to your rune acquisition. From the river, you can jump into the castle sewer, and there you'll face a boss. This enemy is chosen from a small pool, so don't expect to fight the same one every time. Once defeated, a door on the far side of the room will open, and you can gain access to the armory up top. Inside, you'll find a number of chests, one of which contains a reward cache that offer a choice between 3 talismans. Once you unlock the armory doors, you can head to the ramparts where multiple elite enemies await. The most challenging variety of these enemies are the trolls, which can throw exploding pots. These can reach you practically anywhere on the ramparts, making it a constant challenge to kill the trolls and watch out for the flying projectiles. There's also a Crucible Knight and Silver Knight variation, which are much easier to manage. Killing these elites nets you a ton of runes, but also a reward cache after each kill. At the very top of the main building, which you can access by the stairs inside, is a greater boss, which is far more challenging but offers greater rewards. We recommend you don't attempt any of these great bosses until day 2 when you're higher level. Clearing out the castle can provide you with enough runes for multiple levels and a variety of opportunities for optimal loot. Found throughout Limveld are a number of powerful field bosses. These are far more challenging than the lesser bosses at various points of interest, but also drop far better rewards. Field bosses always spawn in set locations, but what boss you find at each spot can vary. There are very few I'd recommend fighting during day 1, as almost all of them will take considerably longer to defeat when you're under-leveled, but during day 2, it's a great idea to try and knock out 1 or 2 field bosses on your way to different points of interest. Evergaols are unique locations in Elden Ring Nightreign that can only be activated with a stone sword key, found most frequently at the Great Church point of interest. Once activated, a boss will spawn from a predetermined pool of potential options. Evergaols are the only rewards cache that guarantee a lump sum amount of runes as an option, making it one of the best and most efficient ways to get a huge influx of XP throughout an expedition. Found throughout Nightreign are Townships, which are host to a Spectral merchant and a weapon upgrade station. These can be easily identified by the plume of smoke that rises from their campfire and should be strategically utilized when it makes sense for your team. These vendors sell an expanded supply of items than their counterparts and are still suited for your expedition, including a number of weapons and talismans. They also sell consumables, which you can purchase and use if you have extra runes to spend. Alongside the merchant is a blacksmith hammer, which you can use to upgrade your weapons. You can find smithing stones in the various mines or purchase the purple tier smithing stone from the Township vendor. Easily the most important location in Elden Ring Nightreign, churches can be found multiple times in various locations across Limveld. Interacting with the altar within each church will increase the size of your flask by 1, providing the single most powerful upgrade as far as sustainability goes. Because there are multiple churches on the map, you'll need to chart a path to reach each one before the second nightfall, or risk losing out on a maximized flask. Churches also contain a number of crates which you can quickly smash for some easy consumables. Found throughout Limveld is the Sorcerer's Rise, a massive tower that is inaccessible at first. Found somewhere near the tower is a seal that you have to break in order to gain access to the tower's front door. Look for something out of place, like a bush or a tree stump, even a bit of concrete, and give it a good whack to reveal the rune. Break the rune and climb to the top of the tower. There waiting for you is a free rewards cache which grants powerful magic-based equipment or a passive effect. This is an essential location if you have a recluse or even a revenant on your team, and is the best way to get arcane gear for your character. There are no actual enemies to fight here, and if you don't need a magic weapon, I recommend you peel off to work on the next point of interest while your magic-wielding friends scoop up any loot from the tower. While not visible on your map, you'll want to keep an eye out for abandoned shacks, which are humble and unassuming. Inside, you'll interact with a small table, and out will pop a few faith-based seals. Given that both the Recluse and the Revenant can make great use of seals, it's fairly important that you keep your eyes peeled for this unmarked point of interest. Luckily, there are little to no enemies nearby, and you can always spot the building because it'll have the warm glow of a fire somewhere nearby. Found in 6 different locations around Limveld are Spectral Hawk Trees. These are new to Elden Ring and unique to Nightreign. When you interact with a tree, your character will propel into the sky thanks to some assistance from a Spectral Hawk. Much like when you first drop into Limveld, these hawks will glide for a period of time before ultimately descending, but when you use a Spectral hawk tree, you have more control over your descent. Truthfully, our team didn't use these a whole lot during our time with the game, mainly because we never wanted to spend too much time traveling between points of interest, but there are rare occasions when you'll need to use them to either escape the Night's Tide or get across the map. The trees will naturally send characters clockwise as illustrated by this map, so keep that in mind whenever you choose to interact with one. Across Limveld are a number of jump points called Spiritstreams. These are almost identical to their counterparts within the base game, but have a distinct blue glow about them. When in their radius, you can press A to launch yourself into the air, giving you access to the surrounding area. Unlike Spectral hawk trees, these are almost essential to getting around in Nightreign, given how much versatility is designed into their world. You can even get strategic about their use, often dropping down to a lower area, only to use a Spiritstream to launch yourself into the air, maintaining your straight line between point A and point B. These become second nature to use after just a few runs, and like I said before, are essential to getting around Limveld. So there you have it, every major point of interest within Elden Ring Nightreign and some helpful information about each. If you have any questions, be sure to leave us a comment below, and as always, if you appreciate the work that goes into making these videos, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, and consider subscribing. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.